Good day and welcome to the dining room table. NATO and Norway are meeting to discuss a lot that's going on. There is some submarines and some aircraft that have been passing through some restricted areas where there are oil and gas pipelines. The Norway Air Force has given exclusive information to NBC where you can see here is a submarine going. Uh, there is energy underseas. They even have internet from Europe to the US. And, the concern is that these Russian submarines and aircraft could be trying to uh, get to it, hack the internet, and they have to protect. So NATO is on top of it. This is the submarine. So we're gonna go over what is NATO because you may be asking what is their role. So NATO is like a coalition of of countries coming together to protect the seas, right? And here you have a list of the countries that are part of NATO. Uh, this website hasn't been updated because Finland has recently joined. Probably do a video on that. So NATO membership is open to any other European state in a position to further the principles of this treaty and to contribute to the security of the North Atlantic area. List the countries and what years they joined. United States 1949. So the NATO, they're all coming together to make sure um, that they have the security, right? So we're going to listen to the the briefing. It's a joint briefing between the Prime Minister of Norway and also the Secretary General, I believe is his title for for NATO, and they're going to talk about what's going on and what their plans are in order to make sure that this gets resolved, right? That, they're not going to keep coming and trying to get to the waters, which is one of their biggest concerns.
Good afternoon. So the Secretary General and the Prime Minister will make opening remarks, and then we have time for a couple of questions. Secretary General.
Prime Minister Gahr Støre, dear Jonas, welcome back to NATO headquarters. It's great to see you again. Last time we met was at the Troll platform in the North Sea, and that demonstrates the importance Norway is playing to help us reduce Europe's dependency on Russian gas. And it also demonstrates Norway's central role in strengthening our shared security, including energy security. NATO is stepping up to better deter and respond to threats to critical infrastructure. And we have increased our military presence in the North Sea in recent months. Thank you, Prime Minister, for driving NATO's work on securing our critical undersea infrastructure. It is important that we understand our vulnerabilities and increase protection, working with NATO allies, our partners, and also with the private sector. Norway also plays a key role in helping our alliance to understand and address challenges in the High North, including by hosting exercises such as Joint Viking, the largest drills in Europe's Arctic this year. Norwegian forces also serve in our multinational battle group in Lithuania, helping to deter any aggression. We just discussed Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine. I welcome Norway's significant financial, humanitarian, and military aid to Ukraine. This includes air defense systems, tanks, artillery ammunition, and training for Ukrainian soldiers. We must continue to provide Ukraine with what they need to prevail for as long as it takes. Today, we also discussed Finland and Sweden's accession to NATO. I welcome that Turkey and Hungary are ready to ratify Finland's membership of our alliance. And I hope that both will do so swiftly. For me, it is a top priority to make sure that Sweden's accession is also ratified as soon as possible. The accession of Finland and Sweden will make our alliance stronger and demonstrate that NATO's door remains open. So, Prime Minister, thank you again for Norway's contributions to our shared security. I look forward to continue to work together with you. So please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Secretary General. Thank you, Jens. It's great to be here as Norwegian Prime Minister to meet the Secretary General and take stock of our very close cooperation and integration in the alliance. We are meeting against the backdrop of this brutal war in Ukraine and the most severe security situation we have seen in Europe for decades. And it's comforting to see that NATO countries are more united than ever and that we are working with allies to support Ukraine and to strengthen collective security in NATO. As you said, Secretary General, we have spent time on how we can increase our support to Ukraine for as long as it proves necessary. To this end, we have announced a 5-year support package to Ukraine of about 7 billion euros. The sum is important, but the long-term perspective of 5 years is perhaps as important because it sends a signal to Ukraine that we are there for the long haul. In 2023, we have budgeted about 700 million euros for military support and the equal sum 700 million euro for civilian and humanitarian support. Recent donations include Leopard 2 main battle tanks, NASAMS air defense, and we are also training Ukrainian personnel. Coordinating with our allies and partners, we are contributing and will be contributing through NATO's comprehensive assistance package. It is important to secure that Ukraine can defend itself. On the civilian side, we recently announced last Friday 2 billion Norwegian crowns, 200 million euros approximately, in budget support to Ukraine through the World Bank. Secretary General, we had a very memorable trip to the Troll platform in the North Sea last Friday. From that platform, Norway provides about 10% of Europe's daily gas consumption. And together with the President of the European Commission, we were able to also observe from that platform that 2 kilometers away, their preparations are being made for major deposits of CO2 through capture and storage, which is part of the solution to the climate challenge. I believe that this is highlighting the importance of infrastructure, energy infrastructure, and the security dimension of energy infrastructure. And as you rightly said, the German Chancellor and I appealed to the Secretary General that NATO take initiative to coordinate military coordination with industry and owners of this infrastructure so that it can be maintained secure. And I'm very happy to see the way you have responded and put in motion the necessary coordination on NATO side, and we look forward to discuss that as we come to Vilnius in July. On Finnish and Swedish NATO membership, let me just say as a neighbor and as Norway, we strongly support this application, and we consider that no countries in NATO's history have qualified to that extent as both Sweden and Finland do. So we have swiftly ratified their application, their status as members, and it's my view that we agreed on that in Madrid at the summit, and it should happen swiftly, and both of them should be allowed into the alliance, and I hope that will be in good order when we meet in Vilnius. Finally, my government is looking forward to host NATO foreign minister at an informal meeting in Oslo in May I think that will be an opportunity to do the last preparations for Vilnius 2 months later. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take TV2.
Mr. Secretary General, Prime Minister, I start with you, Mr. Stoltenberg. Norway is one of the allies that do not reach the 2% target of defense spending. What's your take on that?
Well, I welcome the fact that Norway, as all other NATO allies, have increased defense spending since we agreed the defense investment pledge back in 2014. This has enabled Norway to also invest in new and important capabilities that are contributing to our shared security, to our collective defense. Then, of course, I also expect that Norway, as all other allies that are not meeting the 2% guideline, continue to increase their defense expenditure, because in a more dangerous world, we need to invest more in defense.
Okay.
And as Prime Minister, Norway is actually one of very few allies that do not even have a plan to reach this target. Why not?
Well, let me first say that we fully support the defense investment pledge. As you know, figures have been varying over the last years. In 2020, Norway was at about the 2% level. Strong increases in our GDP is then taking that figure down. But what I can tell you is that we will come to Vilnius with, I think, a clear position on this, and we are working on it. We have increased our defense spending during our months in office. We made an increase in spending mid-year last year because of the war in Ukraine, and we followed up in the budget for 2023. So in nominal terms, we have increased our defense budget by some 17%. So that's an increase. And also, as the Secretary General said, it is also high level of investment into modern equipment. So we are committed to continuing to increase on investment, and this will be done in an orderly and responsible way. As you know, we are now working on a new long-term plan, and we will have that ready next year, and the ambition of increasing our investment will be part of that.
And okay.
A question for the Prime Minister. Finland's NATO membership will now, it seems, be a fact soon, whereas we don't know when Sweden will become a member.
And
the Secretary General has several times stated now that the most important thing is not that the two countries become members at the same time, but that they do become members. Do you agree with this, or do you see concerning security concerns due to Sweden's unclear situation right now?
because
Well, let me
Sweden
just
is
first
next to
reiterate, we agreed in
where all
Madrid
this is happening.
that these two countries fulfill the requirements for membership. And that's why I believe all allies should feel it as an obligation to follow up and do the proper ratifications. That being said, I agree with the Secretary General that Finland becoming member, and with all the guarantees and political messages being sent
And
to
since
Sweden and Finland in this
they have
interim
become,
period,
Finland has become one.
secures the security situation in the Nordic region. And I believe that that is to be maintained. But I strongly hope that when we come to Vilnius, both countries will be properly members of NATO.